Hi guys, Linnea here. I have been asked to talk about Hecate. You will notice I don't. I very rarely talk about Hecate. The reason is because my relationship with her is so very personal that it's not something I often want to share. And that's not because I'm selfish. It's just because it's extremely I don't know the right word, personal. It's just extremely personal. My relationship with Hecate is extremely personal. And I think most people who have a deep relationship with Hecate are very personal about it. There's a lot of information out about Hecate. So I don't share a lot because I think there's enough out there to spread. But I understand, in knowing me and wanting to know me, you want to hear my experiences or my thoughts or so on, my practices and that type of thing. So I'm going to share it. And I'm probably going to be very superficial. I will get a little personal, but it's a very deep connection and it's very private. So I will get as open as I can about it. Hecate came to me in a very strong way. I never had a deity. You have to understand, I studied for and practiced for 30 years with no deity, none. I considered divine the divine. And I honored all deities and all aspects of the divine. But I never had a specific deity because I never had one called to me, and I never felt a huge connection with any. So I had a dream that introduced Hecate to me, excuse me, in a way that I really wasn't sure if it was Hecate or the Morrigan. And that's because I knew it was an extremely strong female deity presence. And it was a kind of destructive feeling to that dream. I don't want to use that word, destructive. It was war-driven type feeling. I don't really know how to explain it, but when I woke up from the dream, the only two deities I could think of was the Queen of Witchcraft, the Mother of Witchcraft, Hecate, or the Morrigan, who is war-driven and so on. So I didn't know which it was. I went with the Morrigan first because there was such a huge animal presence, and it never crossed my mind that it could have been dogs. And I know the Morrigan has the crows or the ravens. So I went with the Morrigan first, and I started studying, and I started kind of, doing a little bit of at night before bed, saying if this is something you're doing, if you're calling to me, let me know. Let me know in a very sure way, because I'm very skeptical and I need to be shown stuff. Well, I didn't get any kind of response. I did have some more vivid dreams, and the last vivid dream I had keys in it. That is Hecate, 100%. Hecate's things are dogs and keys and, her wheel. And there are things about Hecate that are very firm in who you're dreaming of. And the last dream I had was about keys, skeleton keys, to be exact. And so I started leaning towards Hecate calling me. So I started trying to have a communication with her and felt that there was communication going on, but I had never had a deity, you have to understand, and I didn't know it was the skepticism because is this my mind doing this or is this deity calling me? So one night I said, in a very mocking way, which was, I feel I have great regret and remorse, because I was very mocking. And I said, if you're really calling to me, do something that's going to get my attention, because I'm not sure if this is me or you. Well, my dog, Rosie, you guys all know Rosie. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you've seen Rosie, my little old girl. She's always had a very hard time getting on a bed that's not on the floor. And so that night, she got on my bed with no help, no assistance, no one lifting her back legs. She just got on my bed. And I thought, that could be a sign, but it's not a big enough sign to get me. So I stated this. I said, this is not a big enough sign to me to warrant that Hecate is trying to contact me and I need to begin working with her. This is just not big enough. So it needs to be grander. It needs to be something more in my face. I ate my words, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you what my sign was. I should have gotten it out beforehand, but I didn't. So that same night, I was not going to sleep. I was awake, and I said, this is not enough. If you're really calling to me, I need something undiscernible, something that cannot be denied. And I had, as I told you, I always dealt with the divine. I always had a candle going to the divine. I always had something going to the divine. Well, my candle to the divine exploded about 5 minutes later. About 5 minutes after me saying that, my candle to the divine exploded. And this is my candle to the divine. And it literally snapped in half. No flame went out. It just broke in half. I heard the explosion. I heard the glass. I ran into my witchy room. I was in my bedroom right across the hall talking to my husband. I had just said this in my head. You have to understand, there was not 10 minutes between the time I said it and the time the candle dislodged. And it was not questionable at that point who was reaching out to me. It was very direct. It was very in your face, and it was an extreme reach out to me. It was extreme. You know, a candle busting in half, a pillar candle that is meant to burn, just breaking in half with no shards everywhere. I mean, I was a convinced person, and I knew from that moment on, and I've saved it all these years. I will never get rid of it. I knew from that moment on Hecate was the one calling me. Now the challenge at that point, sorry about my rump. Now the challenge at that point became, how in the hell do I work with a deity? I know nothing of deity. I know nothing of how to communicate or share thoughts or utilize this person or this entity. I did not have any idea of what to do next. And there is information about Hecate out there, but I have found a lot of it misguided. I do not feel that Hecate is harsh and unfeeling or unforgiving. I don't find that in her. Well, let's back up. Okay, so how do I work with this deity? So I began just with communication, just trying to communicate. So I would, in the very beginning, ask for something, pay homage or give an offering, ask for something. The first thing I did was get a candle just for Hecate, a red candle, with black writing on my candle, which I use to this day. And so that was my first thing I did was I used black ink with her name. I put a petition, and it's a red candle. And that was the first thing that I started doing, was burning a candle to Hecate. And using that as a communication device and trying to, my first thought was your deity is to give to you and they offer you things and that's how you work together. And that's a very misguided way of looking at working with a deity. I now know. I have only been working with a deity, honestly, I think it's only been a couple of years since Hecate called me. And again, the reason for that was I just never felt a draw to any type of deity, and therefore I just honored all. So I realize now that just asking her for things and giving her offerings for giving them to me was a very much like going to daddy when you needed something, and not necessarily a appropriate type of relationship. And I started to feel a disconnection. I started to feel like she was pulling away from me. And so, I gave that some real thought, and I journaled a lot about it. And I realized that I was only going to her when I needed something. And no one wants to be the friend that you come to just when you need something. So I'm self-taught. I had to teach myself that there's a way to have a relationship with someone as a deity without necessarily always needing something from them. And you may always need something from them, but being a friend in between needing something from them is probably a smarter way to go about it. So then it was learning how to be a friend to Hecate, how to honor her, how to honor her with my actions, how to honor her with my thoughts, how to make myself the type of person that she expects. And when I say that, I don't say it lightly. Hecate does come with guidelines. She does expect from you. And the pulling away you will feel when you're not living up to that expectation. That's really the best way I can word it. Trying not to get super personal here, but she expects us to stand up for ourselves. Sometimes I have a difficult time with that, but that's something that she expects. She expects us to be strong individuals who are responsible for our own actions and our own reactions. And honoring her is learning, basically, to do that in a way that honors yourself. Wow, that was very well put. That's exactly what she expects, among other things. But that is what she expects. She expects you to honor yourself. And she seems to tend to come to people when they don't. And she tends to work with them till they do. I would call her a self-esteem deity, a character-building deity. Is she harsh? She can be. But is she harsh? If you're working with her in the way that you should, and you're working with yourself in the way you should, and you're working on that shadow work, she is the most loving, nurturing, giving, feeling deity I have imagined in my life. I am fulfilled from one end to the other of the spectrum of having a deity with Hecate. I am very fulfilled. Can I teach you a lot about her? No, because I have found that her relationship with everyone is so different that just because I have a relationship that is this way doesn't mean you will. Is it obvious to me that she's with me? Yes. She makes that obvious. I have a candle that I light when I commune with her, when we are carrying on a relationship moment, a conversation, so to speak. When it was time to say goodbye that first time, when I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and release you, and I'm going to release myself from this inner working, and I thank you greatly for your being with me and guiding me and teaching me and leading me, and I will speak to you again tomorrow. Her candle went out. I did not blow it out. It went out. It didn't go out like it's not going to burn anymore, because it lit again the next time that I wanted to commune with her. So do I feel that she is fully engaging with me? 150%. Yes, I do. Do I feel that she's caring and giving? Yes, I do. Do I feel she can be harsh? If it's warranted, yes, I do. I do not believe she is a harsh, from the get-go type of deity. I do believe she has expectations, and I do believe you have to be willing to work with her on her terms. Is that a bad thing? Not at all. It's made me a person I am very proud to be. I guess that's the most I can say about Hecate, really. I hope it was enough. I hope it helped give you guidance. I hope you don't go into this going, come on, Hecate, break a candle. Don't mock her. She deserves better than that. She comes to each of us differently. And don't expect your experience of being called to be my experience of being called, or to be Joe Schmo's experience of being called, or Leslie's, or Anita's, or anybody else's, because everyone's experience is different. And so I hope that helped. I hope it gave you some guidance on Hecate. I love you guys. You're divine, sacred beings of light and love. Please stay safe. Take care of you. I may have some more videos very soon. I may not. I will see you Tuesday for the herbal series. I love each and every one of you. Take care. Bye.